Students, now we are going to discuss third important character of living organisms, consciousness. Consciousness. It is also called response to stimulus. Response to stimulus. Okay. So what is consciousness? Being aware of the external environment or external surroundings is called as consciousness. All the living organisms, they are aware of their surroundings, what is happening around them. Okay. So a unicellular organism, take a unicellular organism like amoeba. Even this organism, its body is so simple, it is aware of its external environmental conditions. It is aware of the molecules which are constantly entering into its body. Okay, so from this we can say even small little creatures also exhibit this character called as consciousness. If you observe plants, in plants also we can see several examples where we can prove that there is consciousness. For example, this is a plant. Okay, the plant is growing, but the light is available only from one direction. The light is available only in one direction. It is coming from only one direction. So what the plant will do, the plant simply, it will change the direction of its growth. It will start growing towards the source of light. Okay, so this phenomenon we call it as phototropism. So what is this phenomenon called, students? Phototropism. Okay, that means the response of a plant towards the light. It is growing towards the source of light. From this we can say that the plants are aware of the surroundings. They can sense what is happening in their surroundings. You know, students, there is a plant called touch me not plant. In my childhood I used to play with this plant a lot. So when I touch this plant, then what happens? The plant immediately, it will start closing its leaves. Okay, immediately all the leaves will start closing. So this is so interesting, isn't it? So this touch me not plant also exhibits this character which is called as consciousness or response to stimulus. So touching the leaves is called as stimulus. So how the plant is going to respond to the touch? It is closing its leaves, which is the response. Understood, students? So many plants and animals, they can sense photoperiods. They can sense photoperiods. What is a photoperiod? Duration of light. Duration of light. They can sense the duration of light. Okay, it is also called as photoperiod. According to that photoperiod, these plants and animals, they decide to reproduce. Okay, so that's why those plants and animals which will reproduce according to the duration of lights, they are called as seasonal breeders. Seasonal breeders. So many plants and animals, they can sense the photoperiods, and based upon that they are able to breed and reproduce. Such plants and animals are called as seasonal breeders. So this ability can be also considered one of the evidence for consciousness. Understood, students? Understood, everyone? Understood? Next, who is the living organism that is self-conscious? Can you tell? Which is the one and only living organism that is self-conscious? Self-conscious. The only organism that is self-conscious is human being, that is ourselves. Human being. We human beings, we are aware of ourselves. We are aware of existence of ourselves. So how can you say that human beings are self-conscious? So if you want to go out for work, if you want to go out for school, then how we'll prepare? We'll just check ourselves before the mirror. Okay, whether my face is proper, whether my hair is proper, okay, whether I dressed properly or not. After checking everything, then we'll go out, isn't it? Are any animals doing this? Isn't it? So this is an example for self-consciousness. Okay, suppose you have planned to go on a tour. Okay, so what you will do? You will arrange some lunch box. You will arrange a lunch box. You will prepare lunch box. Okay, then you will go for a tour or you will go for college. Okay, that you know that you are not going to get lunch there. So by anticipating that, before itself you are packing a lunch box. Is there any animal which is doing that? Is it arranging food before it is going to some other place? Isn't it? So this kind of behavior is seen only and only in human beings, which we call it as self-consciousness. Understood, students? Understood? Copy down this. Consciousness, which is also called as response to stimulus. Students, in NCERT book, there is a question that brain dead patient is living or non-living. Brain dead patient is living or non-living. So, what is the answer for this question? Now, let us find the answer for this question. So, who is a brain dead patient? So, generally, in the road accidents, some people, when they meet with accident, then the head get injured severely. In that cases, the brain gets damaged. The moment the brain gets damaged, the brain stops working. Okay, so then the condition is called as brain dead. Brain dead. Okay, the brain completely stops working. The brain completely stops working. When brain stops working, what happens? Several vital functions of the body will also stop. Okay, first of all, the sensory organs will not work. Eyes, ears, tongue. Okay, next the sense of touch. This type of functions will be completely affected. The patient is not able to respond, right? So we can say that the person has almost dead. The person is almost dead. Okay, so but the heart is still working. What is working? Heart is still pumping the blood. So why heart is still working even though the brain is dead? Because the heart is not under the control of the brain. Okay, the heart is having its own pacemakers. Because of these pacemakers, the heart can keep on pumping the blood. It can keep on pumping the blood. But the thing is that the respiratory organs, lungs, they are unable to oxygenate the blood, because the respiration process, that is the inhalation and exhalation process, is affected because of the death of the brain, isn't it? So the brain controls inhalation and exhalation. Because of this, the person is not able to inhale and exhale. Okay, in order to keep the other organs in a living condition temporarily for some more time, so what the doctors do, they will attach a device called as ventilator. They will attach a device called ventilator. Okay, so what this device will do, ventilator? The ventilator, it will provide oxygen. It will provide oxygen to this brain dead patient. Okay, so when the oxygen is passed through his mouth, okay, the oxygen enters into his windpipe and the oxygen will be delivered into the lungs. Okay, so thereby the oxygen will be artificially delivered into the lungs, because of which the blood gets oxygenated. Once the blood gets oxygenated, the heart can keep on carrying out its function. The heart can keep on pumping. As long as oxygenated blood is available, the heart will keep on its functioning. Okay, so in this way, the doctors keep the brain dead patient, okay, in a kind of living condition only for a temporary period of time. Okay, already the brain is dead, but the rest of the organs are still in a functional state. So why the doctors keep a brain dead patient in a kind of living condition for some extended period of time, such that these organs from the patient, the kidneys, okay, the liver, heart, this type of organs are very valuable. Okay, so these organs can be transplanted into a recipient. Okay, the organs can be transplanted into a recipient person. Okay, so this brain dead patient, he can save the lives of so many other patients, okay, by donating the organs. So like this, a brain dead patient will be used as an organ donor. Okay, so this is the reason why the brain dead patient will be maintained on a ventilator till the useful organs are collected from his body. Even the eyes are also used for transplanting. Okay. So from this we can say that the brain dead patient is not completely living, not completely non-living. Okay. A brain dead patient is neither a living person is nor non-living. Okay. As soon as this ventilator is removed, the person completely dies. Okay. The person is equal to a dead person. Understood, students? So a brain dead patient is neither living nor non-living. So what is the use of a brain dead patient? Since the person cannot be again brought to the normal life, so what we have to do? We have to collect the organs from this brain dead patient and use that organs to transplant into another recipients. Okay, such that we can save the lives of other patients. Understood, students? Understood the concept, everyone? Yes. The fourth important character of living organisms is metabolism. Metabolism. So what is metabolism? The actual definition. The sum, total chemical reactions which occur in the living organisms is called as metabolism. The sum total chemical reactions which occur in the living organisms is called as metabolism. So inside the living organisms, you know that there are the fundamental units called as cells, isn't it? So inside the living organisms, there will be fundamental units called as cells. Imagine this is a cell. So inside the cell, there will be a number of reactions will be happening. Several reactions will be taking one after another, where a molecule, say a molecule called A will be converted to molecule B, molecule B will be converted into molecule C, and molecule C will combine with molecule D and give rise to another molecule called E. So this type of chemical reactions are going to occur continuously inside the cells. Okay, so such type of chemical reactions put all together, we call it as metabolism. Okay, so because of these metabolic reactions only, because of these chemical reactions only, the living organisms are able to maintain their life activities like the respiration, digestion, excretion, etc. Understood, students? Take down the definition. The chemical reactions which occur inside the living cells are also called as metabolic reactions. They can be also called as metabolic reactions. What are metabolic reactions? The chemical reactions which are going to occur inside the living cells are called as metabolic reactions. The metabolic reactions are of two types. They are of two types: anabolic reactions and catabolic reactions. Anabolic reactions, catabolic reactions. Okay, so what are anabolic reactions? What are anabolic reactions, students? Anabolic reactions are those reactions where small little molecules will combine with each other, okay, and give rise to a large molecule. Will give rise to what? A large molecule. Small molecules will combine during the chemical reaction and give rise to large molecules. Such type of metabolic reactions, we are calling them as anabolic reactions. So what are the examples of such reactions, anabolic reactions? Example, photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, small molecules like carbon dioxide, water molecules will combine and give rise to large molecules like starch, isn't it? Next, what is catabolic reaction? It's completely opposite to anabolic reactions. Catabolic reactions is a breakdown process, okay, where large molecules will be broken down into small molecules, okay. So during this process, the large molecules will be converted into small molecules, okay. This process is called as catabolic reactions. So example of catabolic reactions is respiration. During respiration, what happens? The glucose will be broken down into simple molecules like carbon dioxide, isn't it? So note down this, students, very important for your NEET exam. Anabolic reaction example, catabolic reactions examples, okay. So then we can also redefine this metabolism now. Metabolism can be also considered as the sum total anabolic and catabolic reactions which occur inside the living organism. We can also define metabolism in this method. The sum total anabolic and catabolic reactions which occur inside the living organisms can be also considered as metabolism, okay. So this type of metabolic reactions does not occur in non-living things, okay. No non-living object can show this process called as metabolism. That's why metabolism is a defining character of living organism. Note down this point, students, very important. Metabolism is defining character. It is a defining character of living organisms. Highlight this point, okay. So growth is not a defining character, reproduction is also not defining character, but metabolism is the defining character, okay. Copy down. Students, an important point which is discussed in NCERT book. Suppose we collect all the chemicals which are present inside the cell. There are many chemical compounds present inside the cell. We will collect these chemicals into a test tube, okay. Now whatever the chemicals are present, those chemicals are now present in the test tube. Now we will create some conditions such that these chemical reactions also will take place inside the test tube, okay. So this is called in vitro conditions. In vitro conditions, also the same type of chemical reactions can happen inside the test tube. Can we call this a living organism now? Can we call this test tube a living organism? This test tube cannot be considered as living organism, okay. So but the reactions which are happening inside the test tube, the reactions are living reactions, okay. But this entire setup is not going to be a living organism. Understood, students? So this is one important point discussed in the NCERT textbook, okay. Note down this. Next, the most important character of living organisms, that is cellular organization. Cellular organization. You take any type of living organism, from a simple microscopic unicellular organism to a very large organism like a blue whale, okay. Any type of living organism you take, it is made up of a cell. Yes or no? Okay. Even our human body is also made up of trillions of cells. So Each and every living organism which you find in the living world is made up of a fundamental unit called as a cell. So this character is seen only in the living organisms but not in any non-living things. Okay, so from this you can say that cellular organization is defining character. It is defining character of living organisms. It is defining character of living organisms. Understood, students? So once again we will revise all the different characters which we have discussed so far. What was the first character? Growth. It is defining or not defining character? It is not defining character. It is not defining character of living organisms. Okay. Second, what we discussed after growth? Reproduction. Is it defining or not reproduction? Since reproduction is not seen in some animals, some organisms like the sterile worker bees and mule, so even reproduction is also not defining character. It is also not defining character of living organisms. Next, third character what we discussed after reproduction, consciousness. Is consciousness seen in non-living things? Non-living things are not conscious. They are not aware what is happening around them. Okay, so this is defining character. Consciousness is defining character of living organisms. Consciousness is exhibited by only living things, not by non-living things. Next is metabolism. Metabolism. So what is metabolism, students? Come on, tell me. What is metabolism? Just comment in the comment box. Come on, quick. What is metabolism? The sum of total, yes, is called as metabolism. Write that in comment box. Metabolism. So metabolism is also a defining character of living organisms, only seen in the living things, not seen in the non-living things. Next, finally, cellular organization. Cellular organization. Living things are made up of cells. This is also a defining character of living things. So out of 5, we have only 3 characters which are 100% defining characters of living organisms. The rest of the 2 are not valid as characters of living things. Understood, students? Understood, everyone? Take down this, very important. Note down this in your notebook. So my dear students, we have studied all the different characters of living organisms. By considering all these characters of living organisms, now we can define a living organism. What is the definition of living organism? A living organism is a self-replicating, evolving, self-regulating, interactive system capable of responding to external stimuli. So the living organisms, what are the living organisms? Living organisms are self-replicating systems. That means they can reproduce, again produce new living organisms. Okay, that is called as self-replicating. Evolving means continuously they will change, gradually they will change and they will evolve into new type of organisms. Just like human beings, they are formed from the apes. Okay, so evolution, by process called as evolution, they will give rise to new type of organisms. It is called as evolving. Self-regulating, the living organisms are able to regulate themselves. They can control the waste materials, the amount of waste materials that are formed inside their body. If too much waste materials are formed, they are going to excrete them immediately to outside. They can regulate their temperature. If temperature of that body is increasing, they can bring the temperature to normal levels. So this kind of activities are called as self-regulating. They can regulate themselves. And interactive systems, the living organisms are able to interact with other organisms, organisms of same type or organisms of another type. So for example, a cow can interact with another cow by making some sounds. A cow can also interact with human beings. It can say that I am hungry. okay, by using some sound signals. So this type of activities called as interaction is seen in the living organisms. So, and they are also capable to respond to external stimuli. Living organisms can also show response to external stimulus. They can respond to the light, they can respond to the temperature, they can respond to touch, they can respond to pain. So this type of activities are seen in the living organisms. So by using all these characters, we can define the living organisms. Okay, students, this is very important definition. Take down, copy down in your notebook. Students, another two important points from NCERT book. Look here, properties of tissues. What is a tissue? The group of cells with common origin will form a tissue, right? The property of tissue is due to interaction of constituent cells. So because of the cells, because of the interaction of cells which are present inside the tissue will get its property. It is not because of the cells which are present inside the tissue. It is because of the interactions, communication which is going on between the cells. Okay, the tissue will get its property. Similarly, second point, property of cell organelles. Cell organelles we have discussed examples. Nucleus, mitochondria, chloroplast. Properties of cell organelles is due to interaction of constituent molecules. So properties, the cell organelles will get properties because of the communications that are taking place between one molecule and another molecule. How the molecules are going to interact with each other. Because of that, the cell organelles will get their properties, not because of the molecules themselves. Understood, students? Note down these two important points.